Hi everyone, and welcome to chapter 6 of Life with SCG. I'm insane. So pretty much obviously still on my break. I did have an idea pop in my head after watching some YouTube, and I was gonna build a small little pond in the ground. Things obviously escalated, and might as well just talk about it throughout the build. I've got a little bit more of an understanding of what I'm doing at this point in time, construction or building wise. There's definitely a whole lot of unknown that I had to learn to do with the actual fish keeping. Yeah. Anyway, let's go. Brief disclaimer before we begin, I didn't own fish prior to this. I did research ponds and aquariums. I didn't actually think to research the whole fish part. But yeah, anyway, we get to that. Oh, hey little dude. My friend goes out as well. Hey buddy. Alright, so first up, I've marked out my area that I'm going to build the pond. Then I'm going to go in with the shovel, remove obviously some of the dirt, things like that, so that I can start my foundations. I've then got to level it all out, make sure that it's nice and tight, compact. Obviously want to try and prevent any earth movement. I guess we'll see in the future if I did an alright job. And then we get onto the brickwork. Alright, so I chose to use bricks for the build because I did have them left over from other projects. I did have to buy a few more in the end because I didn't realise how many I was going to need, but that's not too bad because they were only like 99 cents each or something like that, which was great. Pretty cheap. I think I spent about 60 bucks in bricks, which not bad. This is probably where I start becoming insane. After watching YouTube, I did stumble across videos of ponds with glass viewing panels for the fish, and I was like, oh my god, that is a great idea. I know exactly what I'm going to do. So I've got this nice big window behind me, behind the area, and I wasn't just going to do one panel, I was going to have two. That way, I could not only see the fishies from the outside, but also the inside. Hey there, little dude. What I didn't think about was the logistics and maintenance side of things, but we'll get to that. Now that I've got the glass idea in my head, I realise that I need to start thinking a little bit smarter, and obviously it was going to be holding a lot of water, which that's a lot of pressure. So doing a bit more research, calculations, things like that, figured out what I was going to need, minimum 12 mil tempered, and ended up jumping on Facebook Marketplace, and I found two panels pretty much the exact size that I needed, and it was going to be perfect. Paid $100 for both of them, absolute bargain. Now I've gone and I've picked up my glass. What I hadn't thought about is how I was actually going to frame the glass into the brickwork. Thankfully, Dad's help, he knew of a store that sold, I don't know, I'm going to say aluminium frame, hopefully I got that right, and it was about $45. They cut it roughly to size that I needed, and then Dad mitered the edges and stuff like that so that the corners would fit nicely. Okay, so obviously using bricks and cement, I did need to find a way to waterproof it properly. Did some research and I found Cromlin's Pond Seal. Didn't have great reviews online, however it was available at Bunnings, which is nice and easy for me to get to just down the road, and it was about 75 bucks for what I needed, which was more expensive than I thought. Do a little bit more research to figure out how to actually apply it, because instructions, well, it doesn't come with very good instructions at all. So who knows if I did it right. Maybe that's why it's got bad reviews. Alright, so now we've got the brickwork done and we are ready to put the glass panels in. Dad helped me out with this part. We got the back panel in really nice and sweet, to then go and do the front panel and realise that my measurements somewhere along the line were slightly off and the panel didn't fit. So I'm in a bit of a pickle right now. I jumped onto YouTube, tried searching whether or not I could just find a way to cut the glass myself. Dad turned around and said, why don't you just contact a glazier and ask them? So I actually contacted the people where it was from. It had like the label on it. They turned around and said, because it's tempered, you can't actually alter it. So what do I do now? So how am I going to fix this? obviously I'm working on a budget, so I jump on Facebook Marketplace, and after scrolling for a couple of days, I couldn't find anything that was going to be suitable. But then luck is on my side. I was strolling through Bunnings and I stumbled across the pool fencing section and found a panel suitable. It was, I think, like $99, sorry. So back to installing the glass panels. So something I forgot to mention before is this was also a costly exercise because I didn't realize how expensive the silicone was going to be. I did use the Selleys marine grade, hopefully safe for fish, and it was about 20 bucks a tube, which I didn't realize how much I was going to need at this point in time. Well, guess who failed? Don't know what to do to stop this, but oh, nailed it, didn't I, buddy? Hey? Right side is it looks like the rest of it's holding in. I didn't realise that the water would go through the pump without the pump being on. I thought that's the whole purpose of the pump. Hey, buddy. Hey? Right, so you're probably wondering about filtration. Dad had a sub pump lying around and I was like, that is perfect, don't have to pay for it. And then I get online and I start having to figure out how I was going to actually use it. So I stumbled across, I think it's Ozponds, I'll link him, and he was talking about bog filtration, really interesting stuff, pretty much like natural sort of filtration. And I thought that's great, it should be relatively cheap and I can do it. I don't have any footage of me actually creating it and it doesn't look great at the moment. There has been a few leaks. I probably need to redo it. But then I needed to figure out how I was going to get it back into the tank and went for a bit of a waterfall style thing. This is where things escalated. All right, so now I've got the waterfall idea in my head, but how was I going to make it happen? Jump on YouTube for some inspiration. Boy, did I not realize the rabbit hole I was about to go down. So this is where the world of planted tanks and aquariums, things like that started popping up, paludariums and hardscaping. You can create it yourself. So here's me, I've got the idea in my head. Let's get cracking. For someone that was trying to do things cheap, I probably should have sat down at this point and thought about the materials that I was going to actually need to make the hardscape happen, which I didn't really do properly. I thought that I was only going to need like 1 can of expanding foam. They're about 20 bucks each, and I definitely used a lot more than that. So one thing I did think about though is I didn't want to put the hardscaping directly in the tank pond thing, so it is removable. That way if anything does happen or maintenance and stuff like that, I can actually pull it out and pre-lit after. So since we're on the topic on not thinking about things properly, let's talk electricity. So how was I going to run my pump? This was an afterthought and I still haven't gotten it fixed. I do need to get
pretty cool.
some
Hey,
sort of power point installed. Instead I've just been lazy, and that's a heavy duty extension cord that runs into my garage. Okay, so probably the biggest mistake and afterthought to all of this is I hadn't actually thought and researched about the fish that I wanted to be keeping. I did want tropical fish, obviously to fit the vibe of, you know, everything going on. And I start going down that rabbit hole, and there is a lot to learn, so I won't go into it too much, but like learning about the cycle and stuff like that. And then it was like, what do you mean I can't put the fish in straight away? So I've completed cycling the tank, waited a few weeks, and now's the exciting time. I get to go down to the local aquarium shop and start picking my fish. So I start picking out some Congos and Tetras, and they're expensive. Anyway, picked them out, and I've told the owner what I was doing. It was an outdoor tank, all this sort of stuff, and she turned around and she's like, have you bought a heater yet? And I was like, heater? There was still a lot that I didn't know about, so this ended up being, again, a more costly exercise than what I thought. And then I also found out after, you know, buying the heater and all that sort of stuff, yeah, I need more electricity. Right, so that's pretty much the end of the actual build for now. Obviously there's stuff that I do need to fix, and we'll hopefully get there at one point, especially now that we've got good weather again. We just went through winter and it was horrible, but the fish survived. It's been up and running for 8 to 9 months now, which is fabulous. I was really worried about winter. I did actually make this a little bit of a makeshift sort of lid, if you're wondering, to try and keep the heat in and stuff like that, because we do get quite cool, and it served its purpose, which was great. Obviously a little bit worried now about summer and regulating the temperature and things like that, now that I've got a little bit more of an understanding, but I think with the waterfall and movement, hopefully it will be all right. Anyway, that's my insanity, and there is more installed now that I've gone down this rabbit hole. And if you've enjoyed it, hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.